My name is Josh Rolnick. I'm reading today from my short story, Eulogy. I'm reading a section where the rabbi is trying to figure out how to pull together a eulogy for a longtime congregant. The rabbi's name is Samson, and the congregant is Jer. Samson prided himself on this, his writing, at memorial services more than any other. In the days before a service, he always made a point to interview surviving family. He had spent more than an hour the previous night at a downtown hotel with Adam and Nora, establishing the signature of Jerry's biography, getting a feel for the emotional landscape. It was up to Samson to help a family grieve and then take the first steps to move haltingly beyond grief, so that eventually they could return again fully to life. What could be more important than this? Fortunately for Samson, he had a recent exchange upon which he could build. Just a few months back, he had received a call from the Oseh Shalom Caring and Support Committee that Jerry was in the hospital. He'd gone in severely dehydrated. Though he had since stabilized, Samson might have farmed this one out to an assistant rabbi. Jerry, after all, was hardly an active congregant, but he didn't. He had sense enough to pay the sick visit himself. "What's wrong, Jerry?" Samson had said, standing at the bedside. "You look down in your cups." "I hate hospitals," Jerry replied, and Samson laughed, for all that Jerry had said and all that he didn't have to. They'd exchanged pleasantries, caught up on the kids, engaged in some small talk. Jerry could be a hard man to pry open, and Samson supposed his stay would be brief. Only, as he was preparing to take his leave, Jerry stopped him. "Samson," he said, "do you ever think about your mistakes?" "I try not to," Samson said. "I've got a lot of time on my hands lying here," Jerry said. "Things keep going around and around in my head. I've been thinking about Lil." Jerry paused here. He pressed his lips together and tensed his face, creasing the deepest wrinkles around his eyes. Samson knew, of course, what had happened to Jer's wife. Lil had gone into the hospital for a straightforward procedure to repair a leaky heart valve, only to suffer a calamitous stroke, leaving her hemiplegic, wheelchair-bound, fully dependent on others. Years of physical and cognitive therapy helped her regain capacity, but she remained a shell of her former self, as Jerry said, prone to endless perseverating and shouting out. "What about Lil, Jerry?" "You can live a long time with a prolapsed mitral valve," Jerry said. 7, 8 years, maybe longer. You can live relatively symptom-free. I keep thinking, if she hadn't had the surgery, who knows? She might still be fine even today. She could have had all this quality time with her grandkids. Samuel was 7 when she had the stroke. He's 12 now. Hilleli was a toddler. She's in 2nd grade. "There's a Yiddish expression, Jerry," Samson said. "Orf nisim tor men sich nicht verlosen." Don't depend on miracles. You said it yourself. If she didn't have the surgery, she was a high risk for congestive heart failure. You followed the best medical advice available. "I didn't follow my own advice," he said. "Primum non nocere, first do no harm. Lil was asymptomatic. I should have told her to call it off." "Lil would have listened?" "Maybe," he said. "I'm her doctor." "Then she's lucky, Jerry. There's much I do not know, but of this I'm absolutely sure. Lillian is very lucky to have you at her side." Thank you.